So I thought this would be a good time to take a look at the G4 MDD, and the internet's out and it's been quite windy. Can't see it right now, but those trees are like wah wah wah. So anywho, we got a G4 MDD right here, and this is the first model of the MDD with the 1 GHz dual processors. And the story to it was, I was just going through eBay looking around and came across this one for $50 and then about like another $47 for shipping. So I was able to get it for $35 because I sent a best offer, and some miracle happened and the guy accepted it. So it took just under a week to get here from Illinois, and when I had first got it, it had 512, sorry, take that back, had 1.5 gigs of RAM, and I was going through a box and found another 512 sticks, and now it's running at 2 gigs. The SuperDrive was kind of bad on it, so I replaced it with the one that was actually in the blue and white over there. And of course, I don't know what it is, but I just like the design of these. And this one has a little speaker grill right here over the speaker. And a lot of people always have wondered what is up in those holes, and actually it is just a mirror, and stick your fingers or whatever up into it. I spent like forever trying to clean the mirrors, so I always wanted to wonder what it was. That was something I was always curious, so now you've seen it. The shape of it, it's not too bad, however it does have some scratches like that one, and I'm sure there's some other ones on this side. Can't see it. But going to this from the G3 over there, it's just so much nicer. The handles are a lot nicer to grab. This opens so much easier. But go ahead and take a look at the back. Actually every PCI slot on this thing is filled. Have a wireless card right up here, which I'd like to reroute with the antenna built into the case. We have a USB 2.0 card, a FireWire 800 card. This is actually a blank slot cover, but inside of here is a PCI SATA card. Yeah, just because the cover to the back of that PCI card didn't work all that well, so I just put that there and put the card in there, and it works fine. And then a 128 meg Radeon 9600 that was in the G5 that now has a 9650. So stock was a Radeon 9000, which was a 64 meg card, and this one is 128 megs. Of course, going down the back, we have two USB 1.1 ports, FireWire 400, and in this gap right here would have been FireWire 800 for the later models. We have gigabit Ethernet, modem, which I'll get to in a minute, and our input slash speaker slash the special headphone or speaker adapter. Down there you have your little lock thing, and then right here is where you can padlock it so the door doesn't open. And of course our power supply, which this thing is noisy. And one of the nice things about these is just barely pull and it comes out so much nicer. So these things, the handles aren't nearly as nice on here. And this, you have to be kind of rough with it to get it to open up. There we go. This one, it's all nice and smooth. So here are those PCI slots. There's the G5 graphics card, and you have to tape through pins 3 and 4, or 3 and 11, sorry. And what was happening when I was doing it was I was taping it on this side, which was completely wrong when you're supposed to tape it on the back side over here. But in my defense, all the pictures I saw was so up close I couldn't tell which side it was on. So, a lot nicer to have that graphics card. I just don't have the ADC working. Down there's a SATA card, which I actually had to flash with a Dimension 2400, and I'll pull up the pic and you can see that it was floppy madness. I went through 3 floppy drives and like several floppies to find one that would actually write. Here's our FireWire 800 card that was in the G5 I never used, and it needs power, but I haven't had an issue with that, just because I needed to put that in TDM and get files to put onto here since this is my server, and it actually worked fine. And then we have our USB 2.0 card, which doesn't like the blue and white all that much. And then we have the Wi-Fi card, which is like some Encore 802.11g, which was the first wireless card I ever bought for like $12. Over here is the old style airport. The FireWire 800 models get the airport extreme that the G5s use. And this antenna, what I'd like to do is actually take it out of here and reroute it to this somehow, but what this does is this goes all the way through, comes out to this side, and then on the other side, about right here, there's a big antenna. So something if you didn't know. There's our RAM, there's our heatsink, which I actually took off and put some new thermal paste on or under it. And what I noticed when I took it off, it actually looked like someone had done it already relatively recent, because this kind of was all dry and everything. So there's the modem way back here, and actually what this does is you can take it out there and you can flip it to where it's flat on the back, or you can flip it to the other side where you get the modem. It was on the flat side, so I decided just to switch it to the modem, because why not? It looks nicer. And there's a little black cable right there on the back side of the RAM that routes to right here somewhere that you plug your modem into right here. Something I didn't go over was the thing on the back. Now, that's the little spec thing. If it ever shows up, I'll get a picture of it. But it looks like it's showing up right now. So, of course it says assembled in the USA in the right hand corner. That was one reason I got it, because most of the Macs I own, I'd like to get them assembled in the USA, like my Mac Pro, my G5, this. The only Macs I have that I don't think are assembled here are my blue and white and my MacBook Pro, which is another story. So it says 1 GHz dual processor, 512 megs of RAM, which would have been a lot for 2002. And I found out this was built like around June of 2002, because that's what the SuperDrive and hard drive and stuff had on the dates. Believe I can't see the angle I'm looking at, so I'll have to look through the camera. So we have an 80 gig hard drive, which is still in here. The DVD-R/CDRW, so a combo drive. Has a SuperDrive now. The Radeon 9600 or Radeon 9000, sorry. And then keyboard and Mac OS X. So this was the last Mac that was bootable with OS 9 until they reintroduced it as like the MDD 2003. But it has a IBM Death Star, which is the original hard drive because it has hardware, firmware, whatever. Have a 120mm fan right there, which is the noisiest thing now. You have a fan here that sucks air through the side of the case, and then right here into the SuperDrives or disk drive bay, and there's a cover back here so air doesn't escape out of it too easily. That air routes and comes out the other side, and the power supply takes it, which actually replaced the fans in those things with much quieter ones, and they push out about half the amount of air on the spec sheet, but it still seems to work, so whatever. Right there we have our solid state drive, which is a 64 gig Kingston, so this thing is pretty speedy, and a 500 gig Western Digital Enterprise drive. Then right here is one of those batteries that was actually made in France, so good to have, and it still seems to have its charge, so I don't lose the time. And I think that's about it. But something with these SATA cables is it makes it a lot kind of rougher to close, but still nothing too bad, not nearly as bad as the blue and white. But So easy to just pop open and you're good. So I think that's about it for the MDD video, but stay tuned for more, and I'll have to be using this video for, or using this computer for PowerPC archive stuff and make videos of those things and whatnot, so we'll just have to see.